Incoming mail.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's market color session. My name is Sabia B, and I'll be taking the first part of today's analysis, which will be detailing commodity currencies. By that, I mean AUD USD, NZD USD, and USD CAD. Shortly after which, my colleague is going to come on board and do his own analysis on indices. So US 13 as 100, and any other asset class he's looking at today. Okay, so we're going to start this analysis session with a recap from our last analysis that happened on Tuesday. If you remember, for those of us who were present, we saw, or rather, we had marked out certain level points that wanted to see price begin to sell into on AU. It was going to break more levels on the M5 time frame. I'm going to quickly walk us through that. So, as at Tuesday's analysis, we are just freshly seeing this sunshine that was printed on the chart. And because of that, we said we were going to see a retracement or an eventual reversal of this asset class. We even went as far as marking out certain POIs that we wanted to see if it was going to serve as support or if it was going to break below and keep trading lower. You'll see that our markups are still very much on the chart and has not been cleaned yet. This was what we did. You can also see the drawing using these trend lines on the chart as well. We said we're expecting price to either come back in here if it was going to serve as resistance and then trade lower. But what did price do? Price broke below and just kept selling. Now, for me personally, I milked a USD sell. If you also took this trade, I would love to know. But yes, AUD USD did exactly what we expected it to. It didn't trade all the way into this level, or saw confirmations that enabled me take this particular AUD USD sell. So I'm right on direction. For NZD USD, same thing. On the H4 time frame, same sunshine we saw. We marked out certain levels on H1 saying we wanted to see price, if price was going to trade lower and then keep digging deeper. Exactly what it did. It broke through our first point of interest, broke through the second, gave a retest, and just kept going. And then on M5, the levels we marked out as our Tuesday. Remember, this is a quick recap. Levels we marked out as our Tuesday got violated to the downside. Now, for NZD USD, we had a precise retest of our POI, which was 0.59299. It broke below, retested, and broke below the 5-minute time frames and just kept going lower. Esther, please kindly stop drawing on the screen. Please stop drawing on the screen. All right, so price broke below and sold all the way into this level. Another recap on USD CAD. What did we say we wanted to see? When we saw this sunshine, we said we were going to see temporal buys that may become an eventual reversal of this asset class. What did USD CAD do? It bought. It's been buying ever since. Even on the H1, it broke, retested, kept buying. On M5, levels we had marked out on this asset class, price broke above, came back to retest our M5 points of interest, and look at how beautifully this bought. So collectively for AUD US or NZD USD and USD CAD, which came to retest our core levels that we had marked out during the analysis, we've caught about 70 plus pips on USD CAD. And for NZD USD, we have caught about, let's see, over 100. So together, we did over 180 pips on NZD USD and USD CAD. AUD USD also gave us a lot, but for the sake of the analysis of levels we marked out during our analysis session on Tuesday, that didn't come to recap. But for me, who saw a confirmation, AUD USD did somewhere around what, let's see, 79 plus pips. So you see over 250 pips collectively gotten on these asset classes. Okay, that has now happened. Let us see what the market has in store for us today. Since our last analysis has played out, what am I saying today? You'd see that we have a new sunshine that has been printed here. And what does sunshine mean? Profit taking, right? So because I'm now saying this, I'm expecting a temporal buy on AUD USD. You know, the market doesn't just move in straight lines to keep digging deeper. So even if the AUD USD is going to continue, it is going to need a breather. It's going to come back, retest, so that it can begin to or continue to sell from a high enough level. So I'm expecting a temporal retracement on the H1. What are those levels? What do they look like? The first level where I think AU might buy into is going to be here, my momentum indicator, which is 0.64793. Second level it may buy into is 0.64982. And the third level where I should buy into or may buy into is 0.65203. So looking at temporal buys into this level, I may take this retracement on AUD USD, provided I see what aligns. So let's go on M5. On M5, this has played out. So what are we interested in doing today? We're interested in marking out the levels that should play out moving into today's session. What are they? Day before yesterday's low, right here. Day before yesterday's high, right here. All the way into today's price movement, yesterday's high and yesterday's low. Perfect. So I'm now wanting to see price. If price breaks above and gives a retest, I might do a quick scalp from here to here, but this is not advisable for everyone, especially the beginners in our midst. If you're a total beginner, you don't want to go ahead playing around the market because you may not be able to fully handle it. And by that, I mean emotional wise. But for me, if I see a break and a retest and I see a confirmation and a scalp from here all the way in here, but for the sake of this analysis, we want to see price eventually break above, and then we could take a quick buy, a retracement, provided our confirmation is met. This is going to be about 30-something pips. If we see a break and a retest on the M1 time frame, that could happen. If that doesn't happen, or we want to wait to follow the trend or follow what price is currently doing on H1 primarily, then we want to wait for price to retrace back into this zone. Wait here first. And when it comes back in here, we can now look for a confirmation pattern to continue selling. If this does not give us a confirmation, we would wait for the other points of interest. That is the sole purpose of drawing these POIs. Which of you is going to hold? Which of you will give me confirmation? And I'll take my shots at anyone that does give a confirmation. Same thing for NZD/USD on the H4. New sunshine has been printed, so we're expecting a retracement or an eventual reversal. And where are they going to be reversing to? So the levels we marked out from our last analysis are still very much valid. Our first point of interest is 0.59299 and 0.59789. There's also a third one down below that I'm going to add, which is now 0.58950. This can be a zone and not a specific price point. So take note of that, please. Okay, so we're expecting price to temporarily buy into these levels. On M5, we mark out those POIs that we love to. These basically just serve as support or resistance zones. We could see some support holding and some support on resistance and vice versa, depending on the move we're trying to play. So look at this. This is yesterday's low that has been mapped out into today. Yesterday's high is in confluence with our 1 hour point of interest and also in confluence in some way with our indicator trend, right? So this is a major level we're going to be watching out for. to see the sell continuation of NZD USD. And then the third level is now day before yesterday's high, which is in confluence with another 1 hour point of interest. And then the final one I'm going to be marking out is the before yesterday's low. So there are 4 POIs I majorly mark out on the M5 time frame. And you see this is in very specific confluence with the trend. So I'm watching out for these levels. Now this even has more room for price to trade above. This is over 50 pips. So if I see a confirmation, bearing in mind that it is a reversal, me trying to catch the reversal trade, I'll simply just go lower on risk and attempt to buy back NZD USD from here to here. And if it stops me out, I should be expecting that, but I'm still going to be willing to take a shot if I see a confirmation. But this is a reversal trade that may happen. Okay, then finally for USD CAD, what are we seeing? Quick one from H4. So again, sunshine was printed. We expected these buy. We stated we're looking out for a buy USD CAD. Look at how beautifully that happened. So new sunshine has been printed. If you look at that, you see that we now have a new sunshine. So we're expecting something like this. This just signifies that people who rode a particular move are gradually taking profit out of the market. So if that's going to happen, we're expecting a rest in the markets. Where is it going to rest into? It's going to be the POIs. I'm just going to adjust this. Again, these are mostly zones and not specific price points because we're using the M2 platform. Okay, so POI 1, POI 2, I believe you can see the price point. For those of us who do not have the indicators, it is not an issue at all. And then our first POI is right here. Our third point of interest is right here. So see that there's even a buy limit that has been set. So let us see, wait for confirmations around there, and then we're going to, take this move. So that's pretty much it for what I'm watching out for. I'm just going to repeat the same thing I did on the other asset classes. Mark out yesterday's high into today's price movement. Mark out yesterday's low. Sorry, I'm squinting. Too much screen time can affect the eyes sometimes. And then mark out day before yesterday's high right here, and day before yesterday's low right here. Okay, so right now we're just waiting to see price trade into this zone. So we have how many points of interest? We drew 3 on the higher time frame, and I've drawn about 4. So in total, 7 POIs are watching out for to see what price does at those zones. So a quick summary, buyers for USD CAD, a temporal sell for the buy, a sell to buy, and then NZD USD buy to sell, AUD USD buy to sell. That's it for the asset classes I'm watching out for. If you have any questions, this is the perfect time to ask me. If there are no questions, we can simply move into the next half of today's analysis session. Now we're going to be having our Forex Bootcamp training starting on Monday next week. And it is in that training that we basically teach you the different strategies that literally everybody on the floor uses to trade. So you're going to be learning how I trade, how Demola trades, how Cynthia trades, CJ, Lekon, everything is put together in one course for a one-time fee. So you can now decide the one you want, because of course we're not advising you to go and trade all the strategies, but you're going to take the courses and then over time pick the one that best fits your personality and your trading style, and you do amazing things with that. So if you have any questions and you'd love to enroll for that training, it's simple. Simply send us a DM either on Telegram or send a WhatsApp message to 081 60 99 50 30. And we're going to guide you through to enrollment and onboarding in preparation for the training to start on Monday. Okay. All right. So I believe there are no questions. Was this helpful to at least one person? Was this helpful? Was this clear? How many of us took advantage of Tuesday's analysis and made some money from these markets? Sheesh. Okay. Hey. He's my eye. Okay. I think I will come to your DM shortly after this session. Just to come and say hi. It's not like I'm going to collect tithe or anything. Congratulations, sir. Crop money can be very, very sweet. Oh, that's really nice. Crop money, just get, I always say that, see, 10% on a 100K account is literally enough to make the rest of your year. 10% on a 100K account. I'm definitely coming to your dinner. Have you all seen the comment section? Wow, big congrats, sir. We need to throw a party in our Telegram support group. Since you're not here, we're going to do a virtual party. Yes. Big congratulations, sir. Okay, so we don't get distracted. Do we have any questions? Has this been helpful to the rest of us? You're welcome, sir. Has this been helpful to the rest of us? Please let me know so we can wrap up. I'm moving to the next session, of course. All right. Thank you so much for joining. Please don't go anywhere. We'll be back in less than a minute to go into the next part of today's analysis session. Cheers and God bless.
Good morning, and welcome everyone to the second part of this market color session. How are we doing? Hope we are good. Hope we are fine. Hope this is going well. Esther Ezekiel, Fumi, Mustafa Shitu, Tips Don't Lie, Simon, Jonathan, Toby, and User. Beautiful morning to you all. Hope we're all doing fine. All right, let's move quickly and move as fast as possible. And congratulations to you. Please don't lie. I overheard Abby saying 12K USD. Interesting. That's massive. That's a lot. That's a lot. All right, guys. So today we'll be looking at the commodity markets, US markets, and US 30, NAS 100, and S&P 500. Right. On Tuesday, we had a very good start with the week. We made 1:4 RR. Before New York closed, right? Before New York session finished, we are able to hit 1:4, and that's ready for our bag in our portfolio. For those that took GJ trade, I don't even know anything about this trade, but it's looking really well. Like the analysis was just spot on. So congratulations to those that were available yesterday. All right, US 30 this morning. What is happening? The market is overall very, very much bullish, right? Bullish in the market. We've broken new support levels across board, broken new support, a new broken new highs, and I would expect that our price come to mitigate this guy over here, typically, right, before we resume our movement to the upside again one more time. However, there are fair value gaps, right, which we are not ignorant of, right? Sounded like church. You're not ignorant of the devil. All right. And so we're having this fair value gap that we're not ignorant of. And then we have this this other block and then fair value gap. We expect price mitigate this and then continue movement to the upside, right? And on the 4-hour time frame, we have some pretty looking structure over there, right? So there's other block here and the other block on the top. One of them, price going to come and fill one of them, right? However, what is my bias this morning? I'm looking forward to catching this sell, right, to the downside first, so that I now enter with the buy, go buy and sell, right? After a lot of back testing, I see I've been leaving so much money on the table in terms of US30, just waiting for only buys, where we can both catch buys and sell. So this morning, this was the buy. This is our morning buy, on Tuesday buy, right? Rather, this buy on Tuesday took us to the upside, and then it was unmitigated, and then started selling right to the downside. I believe this sell will still continue even further down into this zone. Where is it? Let's just see. Oh, the other way around. You should see this continue further into this zone, right? Before we now reverse on the higher time frame. So that's why I'm looking at this guy overall this morning. He has been mitigated. This zone has been mitigated. And to the downside, price has broken structure, although not broken structure, liquidity now, and there's liquidity sweep, right? There's liquidity sweep, though tiny, we can see it's obvious to the downside. Liquidity has been swept. And for that reason, I'm looking at this guy, and then this guy looking at inducement, serving as inducement for me, and overall, I'm now watching out for this guy. So that block on 45 minutes has not been tested before. And then overall, looking at this, 1:3-ish. This should be like the typical TP, but then just 1:3 should be around this zone. This is like a stretch, right? On the 45-minute time frame, this kind of early entry, but then once we refine it more again to say 15 minutes, because on the 15 minute now, a lot of things becomes very clear. We have under fair value gap here, and then this other block has not been tested, right? This one, yeah. Let me use the gang boss to draw this. Coming. Where's that gang box? Okay. This guy over here. You have this, and then price, taking off from 50% of the gang boss, the same SL. Let me use this drawn liquidity. Let me use this. Yeah, let me just stay with something that is possible. And this drawn liquidity, this is a more refined entry, and then we have 1:2.7 RR here potential, and the second like refined entry potential 1:9. But then if we want to draw it all the way, we have 1:6 here, and for this, you have a crazy risk to reward ratio. 1:19. That's a lot, right? So this is what I'm looking at this morning. Although there's another possibility that price might not take off from 0.5%, might want to take off from just entry here on this other block. So 1:10, right? If price takes off from 0.5, we're giving us massive 1:19. But if it does take off from here, we'll say 1:10. But it's better for you to get 1:10 than because of 1:19, you miss out on this, right? If our eventual price just starts into zero level on the gang box and then start to push the downside. So this is what I'm looking at for today. Overall, the market is bullish, but then because of these opportunities that we're seeing, you might want to take price from this zone into the downside, right? Seeing what can happen into this entire zone. Is that the zone? Let me wait to. I'm coming. On the daily again. Oh, no, that's a fast stretch. Let me reduce. Okay, this is an ambitious return, Charles, but let me put something that is very, 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 very realistic to what we have today. Yes, today you enter, you come out, let's say 1:3 around this zone, right? And the same thing here. 1:5. You enter today and you come out. Okay. So that we don't start thinking long term when we cannot hold the trade long term. All right, so this is what I'm looking at for today on US30. Hopefully we'll see what the market is going to do. Let me delete this. It's making this entire zone look rough. Right, so on the next one, US 100 on the daily time frame also. US 100 on the daily time frame. US 100 is extremely bullish, right? It's bullish, that's broken structure to the upside. So what's the next thing that's mitigated this area fully? This area has been mitigated once again. So what's the next thing I'm looking out for? I'll expect it to continue its movement, right? On the 4-hour time frame, we would see all the areas for order blocks and all the interesting areas, other blocks areas, and everything has been mitigated this to the upside. Although we still have one down here that's not been mitigated this year. Right, this area has not been mitigated, and there's a possibility price could drop to the downside. But then on the 4-hour time frame, let me look on the 2-hour time frame. If you have anything special on the 2-hour time frame, nope. On the 1-hour time frame, price has mitigated this. Exactly, sending it up to the upside. All right, so this is looking quite interesting. One thing we could see here that I'm looking at from today is the price could even drop further into this zone and then send it up, right? Since this area has not been mitigated fully, price could drop down into this and then finally send it up, right? So, and if that is true, where should we be looking at for? Be it on 45 minutes. Okay, 45 minutes is looking really, really, really interesting. This guy has been mitigated. This has been mitigated. This look really, really interesting this morning. Mark this entire zone. Okay. We could see price tap into this and then drop. That's a possibility, but it's not really clear. That's an aggressive entry. It's an aggressive entry this morning. And I wouldn't want to enter here aggressively. Right? What I would prefer is to see price drop. We have something like this. Drop, break structure, something like this, and then we'll now go back to boom, or any area that is unmitigated around this zone. If he has been fully mitigated, there's no point price coming here again. We'll just take from here and then to the downside. I don't know if you're getting my analysis this morning. Looks quite different, but then it is what it is, right? Okay. Sorry, let me mark up. All right, so I'll be watching out for this area this morning, seeing how it's going to react, right? And then with that, we would be looking at S&P 500 in terms of the analysis. On the daily time frame, S&P 500, oof, beautiful. S&P 500 has broken structure also to the upside, right? Have a break of structure to the upside. And then you have this zone being fully mitigated. You have this zone mitigated, and then on the 4-hour time frame, all the zones that looks really interesting has been mitigated. So far, so good. Even on the, let me check on the 2-hour time frame. Yes, they've all been mitigated. For that reason, this has been mitigated by 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 this now, right? So for that reason, we'll be looking for other smaller opportunity around this zone. Even this, all of this has been fully mitigated this morning. And so if I want to see a break of structure above this, a break of structure above this level, the break of structure above this level, and then like a return, price giving us a price action of either other block, fair value gap, and from which we will now take trades to the upside this morning, right? If not this morning, probably into New York or into tomorrow, even next week, Monday or Tuesday, thereabout, right? Because all of this, from everything we've seen here, price has fully mitigated all that it needs to. We just need price to, with this on the daily time frame, from here now, we could see price move to the upside fully, right? But then we need an entry from which we can use to, enter this market. Let me look on 30 minutes if probably we're going to see something. Nope, nothing. Okay, on 30 minutes, on 30 minutes, on 30 minutes. This looks like an area which is yet to be mitigated. Let me use this. Okay, okay. So we could see a drop into this area and which will send price to the upside, right? We could see a drop into this area that will further send price to the upside. So that's one possibility for today. Since we've seen price broken structure to the upside, could see something like, okay, interesting. We could see something tap into this zone and then send price down here. Would see something like this, a sell to buy. Take our liquidity here, come here, and then and that would be like a safe journey. All right, guys, that's pretty much what I have this morning on my chart, looking at the possibility in this market. It's a good place to ask a question. If you have any question, Esther, Ezekiel, Fumi, Lewis, Mustafa, Hips Don't Lie, Simeon, Jonathan, user. If you have any question this morning as regards the analysis done, US 30, NAS 100, S&P 500, it's a good time to ask a question, right? And then in the absence of, while we're still thinking about the question, the ATM cash flow training is currently going on. And by next week, FX Bootcamp starts, which it's going to also mind-blowing for advanced traders and intermediate traders. That's a class you want to attend or you want to join because of the information shared in that during that bootcamp. All right, I see there are no questions this morning. Thank you all for joining. We'll be coming back again by 2 p.m. this afternoon for the New York session, where we discuss everything being done, right? We discussed everything we've said this morning and then see if there are any gray areas or need for us to, realign our bias in the market, right? And if there's no need, we'll just see how our setup has played out. All right, thank you so much. And a big congrats to is it living sacrifice now, spiritual investment? Still like a very big congratulations to you, right? More wins, and to everyone there, right? So this is a big win. I mean, celebrate. Everything joins her. See, it's a big window. See, celebrate when people are celebrating so that yours can come. Just imagine your first 10K day, right? How it's going to be. And then use the experience, the emotion to celebrate, right? Because, of course, it's very near. All right. Thank you so much for joining this morning. We'll see you again by 2:30 New York, 2 p.m., sorry, New York session. Cheers and God bless everyone.